The first real bad, 1989, was not a dance party.
The first 2 years were a house party and it didn't have to do with fundraising.
You look at the invitation, it says get up, and that's to go to the first house party. Get bad, and that's to go to the Folsom Street Fair. Get real bad, and that's to go to Jeff Swinton's house and drink margaritas and have a good time. And then it says the first annual Real Bad Party. He died in 1994. I think he would be blown away that this thing has kept going for 25 years. So in 1991, when we started the party, we were in the height of AIDS.
The AIDS crisis was out of control.
There were no protease inhibitors, and me and probably most of the people that were hosts did not think we would be alive in 5 years.
It was a difficult time in San Francisco.
Boston and a group of guys there had founded GRGRF, Grassroots Gay Rights Foundation, in 1987 to raise money for gay rights causes.
We formed a group called GRGR West.
A bunch of guys that wanted to get together and figure out a way to try to raise some funds to give to AIDS charities.
1992 was the first year that I got involved with what was loosely called the working group at that time.
It was very much a circle of friends.
Friends, engaging friends to have a greater purpose.
And we were all very aware that San Francisco didn't have a party scene.
And so we decided, well, let's do something bigger. Let's rent out a space and have a party.
And make it a fundraiser and benefit our community.
And they knew that they were raising funds for their friends, just trying to keep up with everyday life.
None of us were professional party planners, but we had each other.
What we were looking for the feel of the party came from New York, and the Saint in particular.
We didn't want to be the next big black party or the next big winter party.
We needed a space, so we used Dreamland.
And my late lover and I attended that party. We just heard about it through some friends.
It had to be 1992. I was invited by Ray Haley.
My first party that I attended was 1992. I would go to these circuit parties around the country and around the world by myself as a voyeur. It was kind of a boys' thing. A lot of times they think I'm a boy.
So Ray had told me, here's a ticket. I want you to come as my guest. If you have a good time, then you can just go ahead and make a contribution directly to the charity. But even though it had been around for a couple years, the guys still struggled to sell tickets.
Tickets were $20, tickets were $30.
It was very small.
There were maybe no more than 100 people at the party.
Everyone knew everyone else.
We just felt that we had come to a time, a decade into the AIDS epidemic, that we were tired of being sad. Some people kind of danced to remember, and some people wanted to dance to forget. But the one common theme was that we all danced.
Because we'd come out of the 80s and everybody was dying, and then I was looking down and seeing these guys that were so full of life.
And you're dancing with some of the most beautiful men in the world. And you're very aware that the reflection from the mirror ball really reflects so many different people who walked before you. There were so many guys in the early days of the event that played such critical roles. Scott Gursky was a lawyer, so he was able to help us with contract negotiations. Gito Garcia, Tom Lloyd, and Lauren Brown, who were still involved. David Brunetti, of course, Neil Fitzgerald, and David Barbieri.
I have the meetings at my house, and we just sit there and talk about the party and what we were going to do for it in what I call the E-room, where all the posters are hung. And I started those posters with number 5. It was the meeting room, so I figured what better place for them.
We can't forget the women, Mitzi Forbes and Irene Chambliss. Not only were they there planning with us, but they became the caretakers for when our guys got sick.
I watched so many of the old Real Bad Party people pass on. I'm just very fortunate that I got to be a part of their life, and that they were a part of my life.
Real Bad 3, Mark Lagasse and I were co-chairs, and we pretty much did everything related to production of the event. Tom Lloyd was one of the 32 hosts, and he served as the treasurer that year.
That's the first official role that I played. We used my bank account to deposit the money and hold until we actually gave it away to the beneficiaries.
We came up with the concept of the host because We had $0. And the only way we were going to be able to afford a venue and advertising and all the other things we had to do was to get 32 people to each chip in $100.
That gives us the seed money to produce the party.
So I was chair in year 13, and in those days, I remember calling people to be hosts because we didn't have enough, and that's certainly not the case today.
We grew that number from 50 up to 250, where it remains today.
The hosts now come from how many countries?
And 100% of those general admission ticket sales all go back to nonprofit organizations. One of the unique features about Real Bad is a margarita party. And it's a tradition that's continued from day one. There are several main reasons why we have it. To thank our hosts, announce our beneficiaries, all of our sponsors for that year, and we announce our fundraising goal. We also show our poster.
Every time I see somebody wearing one of their Real Bad host party t-shirts, it makes me feel really good.
There was a time when we actually did vote to disband as a group. We had grown too fast.
In Real Bad 8, we thought that we could go ahead and take it to a different space.
We tried to outdo the competition and bring in the big DJs and move to a bigger venue. And it becomes expensive. And we weren't able to make the kinds of contributions to the nonprofit groups that was the original purpose.
So we felt very embarrassed by that.
We spent that summer just trying to figure out, should we come back, should we not?
And there was one person, and that was Neil Fitzgerald, and he stepped up for that next year.
And he chose as the theme that year, Resurgence, which I think represented where we were as a community. We decided, okay, let's come back, smaller, more focused, and let's revisit our roots.
We decreased ticket price, filled up the club again, and raised for us at that point in time a record amount of money. From 1994 to 2000, we were going back and forth between 715 Harrison and 1015 Folsom.
Once we realized that you could have activism with a dance beat, that we could actually raise a lot of money if we looked at one of the bigger holidays like Folsom.
By moving to Folsom Weekend in the late 90s, we were bringing in crowds and crowds of people to San Francisco.
Folsom Street event has their street fair on Sunday. People walk down from the street fair and they come directly into our party and they stay there for the other 9 hours. And have that be a great closing event.
When the Real Bad parties were happening in the 90s, especially as soon as we hit 2000, is when it exploded.
The audience was there, and it was ours to take.
You're from LA, you're from New York, you're from Florida. Come to San Francisco and see what we're like.
Being upstairs, looking down, and seeing over 2,000 people down there, and just the excitement and the love, and felt like, you know what, this is home.
My role, which is the fruit tables, and that's what I've been doing for many years, it's quite gratifying to see everyone eating the fruit that night and enjoying it.
When I talk to my friends about Real Bad, I first and foremost just tell them it's just get a ticket, and when you get there, you'll immediately understand what I've been talking about.
I remember bringing boys to the party and giving them a ticket and having these young boys walk in and go, I can't pick their mouth off the ground. It's amazing watching the tribe vibrate on the dance floor.
Dirty, playful, exciting, and sweaty. Very sweaty.
You hear the music, you feel the music, you look at the bodies.
The music is always just kind of right on, keeps you on the dance floor.
I love guys, I think they're really sexy. I love watching them touch each other. I love watching them dance together.
The event has obviously evolved greatly since 1989.
We're the longest running nonprofit organization raising funds for our community that's a dance party.
I think it just got named Best Circuit Party this last year.
But the values haven't changed.
It's constantly evolving, it's staying modern, it's staying true to everything that San Francisco is because it's run by people who are in San Francisco.
There are now 20 plus people on the working group, whereas in the beginning there were, like I said, 12 or so.
Be bad, do good. It's really amazing to see a whole bunch of people come together and make something work and then throw it back to the community.
The beneficiary process for Real Bad is unique because we offer the opportunity for 25 working group members to listen to a variety of nonprofit organizations sharing what their mission is, what they're planning to do with the money.
I think we're succeeding this year by trying to include younger guys in our circle of friends.
They're so engaged, they're so enthused, and everybody has a personal connection to probably one or more of those organizations.
I was working at the Native American AIDS Project. Our kind of mission aligned with the mission of GRGR West. We were able to not only continue our services, but increase our services for the year that we were funded.
It's such an empowering thing for me to watch these guys in their 20s and 30s who are struggling to pay their rent, being able to sit there and say, I get to give, AIDS Emergency Fund $15,000.
I was just extremely happy and thrilled to just kind of be part of the process.
To get a huge check from Real Bad from a party that was essentially put together 100% by volunteer and donations. That just feels good for everyone involved.
Any community organization that wants to have a model, we have it. And over the years, we've given close to $2 million in 25 years.
I think on the eve of the 25th anniversary, I look back with both awe and amusement. It's such an exciting time, but at the end of the day, it's just a dance party.
Even to today, when I'm on the dance floor, I think about people like Mark Lagasse and people like my ex, Mike Winstead, who are looking down and dancing in the sky with the rest of us.
People come and go in this event. I love the idea that the chair changes constantly, so you have new blood in all the time.
It's like a fraternity. You take the pledge, and you're active for a couple years, and then you graduate, and you move on. But you'll always be part of that fraternity. Nothing can undo it.
Real Bad's a little bit more than just a community. It just kind of brings a sense of connectedness to my life here in San Francisco.